Welcome to Radiant Moments, a place where healing, resilience, and authenticity come alive through heartfelt stories and practical wisdom. I'm Michelle, your host. Today, I am deeply honoured to welcome a truly remarkable guest, Natalie Lund. Natalie's life is a beautiful mosaic of cultures and careers. Having been born in Brazil, raised across Germany, France, and Hong Kong, and having lived in cities from Dubai to Sydney, Berlin, and now Portugal. She started as an artist and performer, then took a transformative turn towards rapid transformational therapy, or RTT for short, becoming a certified hypnotherapist who helps people rediscover their self-worth and reconnect with their deepest parts of themselves. What deeply resonates with me is her belief that we're not here to be fixed, but rather to remember who we truly are and beneath life's labels and challenges. Natalie's approach is grounded, honest, intuitive, and most importantly, deeply human. Natalie, welcome. It's so wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Natalie, your path is remarkable, as I was saying, moving continuously across cultures and professions. That kind of life can challenge one's sense of identity and belonging. How have your many moves and diverse experiences shaped your own identity and influenced your approach to healing with RTT?
So, moving, and you're absolutely right, the feeling of belonging, I started smoking to belong and had the belief that, to belong, I have to smoke. And I always wanted to quit smoking for real, until I did a hypnosis to quit smoking and I found out why I was smoking. And my belief was that I need to smoke to belong. Since I belonged already, I was able to easily quit smoking and never touch cigarettes again. So that was like this whole thing of belonging was a major issue for me. And then getting older, moving around, getting to know new cultures, people. I have this openness for no matter whom, no matter where people are from, what their history is, what their culture is. It's just an openness that my friends told me this, that is seldomly seen.
Would you say having your friends pick up on that particular openness, was that kind of a surprise to you? The people that are closest to you are noticing this and you just thought it was day-to-day experience? Mhm. Yeah. And because you've had all of those experiences across the world and everybody's culture is different, I guess you've also had those experiences which then you have taken parts of and been able to adjust or readjust back into a more relaxed environment or a stricter environment, which I'm sure helps you every day. Mhm. So we all take on lots of little things. And I'm sure as you adapt into each environment as well, you've taken little pieces away that help you with your RTT and how you support people on their journey. Mm. Yes, everybody has their own unique quirks and they all have their own systems, and you would have to adjust and kind of, I guess, mesh in with that every time you've moved to a different location. Yes, that's beautiful. And through my research, I see that you often say you don't fix people, but you help them remember who they were before the world changed them. Could you share what that looks like in practice, especially for caregivers who may feel weighed down by guilt, identity shifts, or simple overwhelm? Mm, mm, mhm, mhm, mhm. Yes, because of those stories. Yeah. So they need to prioritize self care. Yes. Yes, that's true. It's very beautiful. And as a caretaker myself, across the many years, there have been lots of time where you just go, 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 and you don't stop. And then it catches up with you and it bites you on the bottom because you didn't take that moment to take care of yourself. After learning about the importance of self care and breath work and prioritizing me being a whole individual and being able to be at my 100% for that person, it's a completely different path. And instead of just surviving day to day, we're now thriving. And so when you're talking about making sure that your cup is filled, that self care is like a vital non negotiable, I think that is a perfect message to anybody who is caring for somebody else who ends up, and we end up having health crises or health concerns that seem to come out of nowhere. We're like, where did this come from? But if you actually stop and think about it and think about all the times that you missed a meal or you didn't drink that cup of water or you didn't get enough sleep because you were up with them, but you didn't take the time to recover from it. It's just, you don't stop and think about that stuff until you're hit with a wall that says, pay attention to yourself, please. This is an emergency situation. Mm, mm. You've also been a client of your own profound healing work and faced challenges many of our listeners could really relate to: trauma, ADHD, perimenopause, IVF, self worth struggles. Which parts of your journey have shaped your heart and intuition most deeply as a therapist?
So when I was younger, friends, people were always drawn to me with their problems. So they always came to me. But I didn't have any tools I'd listen to them, but I didn't really have any tools to help them. Mind you, listening is a lot of help already, but still I didn't have any tools. And then I started attracting, when I was older, men with problems as partners. I was attracting people with depression, with all sorts of issues. And I didn't have any tools. I did not know how to actually help these people, right? Or my ex-partners. ADHD in the 80s did not exist, specifically not for girls, right? And I was wild. I
Yes.
was wild as a kid. Good thing my parents sent me to sports every single day. And I learned violin, so focusing. So I got perimenopause, sort of took the rug out from under my feet. ADHD got stronger. I started feeling the symptoms. I started not feeling like myself at all. I couldn't concentrate. Usually when I have clients and I can hyperfocus, thanks to ADHD, I can hyperfocus. I can be with my client for 3 hours, like in this absolute focus. Suddenly, because of perimenopause, I'm like needing to bring myself back for a while. And I'm like, what is happening? Started having pain in my body. I'm like, what's happening? So all these things got worse until I found someone who gave me HRT. So now I'm back to feeling good again, feeling great about myself. So these issues are now gone. Trauma, I still have some trauma. I'm not completely healed. I think it takes a long time.
That's a journey.
It's an absolute journey, but some of the noticing where some of the reactions I have come from, why things keep happening in my life come from, made me basically attract clients who sort of went not necessarily the same journeys, but have had the same beliefs. Now they don't anymore, but have had the same beliefs as I did. And we all have the feeling of not being enough, right? Everyone had that feeling before. I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not courageous enough. I'm not enough. We all know that feeling. We all know the feeling of, not fitting in, being different than others, and, needing that feeling of belonging, which we didn't have for, a period of time or still don't. We all know that. We all know the feeling of, that's not attainable to me. Like, I don't deserve that. We all have those feelings. So finding out what caused these feelings in me helps me be very empathetic towards my clients who are going basically through the same thing.
So, from your life experiences and your journeys that you've had to date, you find that your clients are drawn to the things that you've already experienced, whether or not they're identical or not, because you're able to assist them to transition or to find ways of managing healing from it through your rapid transformational therapy.
Yeah, I've had many clients who were completely different to me. And as I said, in the end it's the same feelings we all have. So it doesn't matter what caused these feelings.
Hmm.
I just help these wonderful people who actually want to heal. I just help them to find out where that belief comes from and then get rid of that belief. So we take that belief out and then we fill that space with better beliefs, healthier beliefs.
Okay, so for people or listeners who are hearing us today, and they may never have heard of rapid transformational therapy, or today is the very first time they're hearing it, can you explain what RTT is and how it differs from more traditional healing or therapeutic methods through a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a counselor, for example?
Okay, so RTT was developed as a methodology of hypnosis developed by Marisa Peer. And she was studying psychology, and her
Hmm.
professor said, it takes a lifetime to understand one's mind. And she's like, hell no, that takes too long. So she went to study hypnosis. So the methodology she built
Hmm.
is hypnosis with psychology, with NLP, with several different methods of healing in RTT. And I've worked with Brazilian healers who learned from the original people in Brazil, in the Amazon. So I bring some of that in as well. Or I went deeper into NLP and I like the anchoring. So I use the anchoring in my RTT session as well. So it's open for people to bring in their knowledge into RTT. Basically, RTT works like this. My session works like this. People tell me their issue, and then we go, okay. They go into a deep relaxation. Hypnosis is nothing more than a deep relaxation. It's your brain waves go to alpha or theta, so relaxed. And people hypnotize themselves. I just help them get there to that relaxation. It's like meditation. If you've meditated before, you know that relaxed brainwave. If you drive and you're like, "Ooh, how did I get here?" You've been basically in hypnosis, right? So it's a
Yes,
very natural thing.
we've been
Yeah.
there.
And in hypnosis, we are able to connect to our subconscious mind and we're able to accept suggestions, right? Those are the
Hmm.
two specific things. Our cognitive mind has a very strong
Yes.
critical mind going like, oh, but this doesn't work. Oh, but this doesn't. Oh, but it can't be this. Blah, 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 blah. In hypnosis, this critical mind is still there, but it is very
Hmm.
small. It's very small. And the deeper in hypnosis we are, the smaller that critical nagging voice gets. So I then take my clients to what was the root
Hmm.
cause of this issue? And then, an event, a time, a place they go to in their minds, and then they see, it's daytime, it's nighttime, the age they're in, what's happening, what caused this belief. And we do that 2, 3 times, 4 times, sometimes. Really go to where did these feelings start? Where did these beliefs start? And then the client finds out by themselves how what they saw in their inner mind leads to how they are feeling now. And then we tackle this belief. And the
Hmm.
first thing I always do is I separate the child from the adult. Because you are not that child anymore. It worked for you.
Okay.
Doing what you did worked for you as a child, but it does not work for you as an adult anymore. So that part of you, I'll separate. And I say, talk after me. This is not me anymore. This will never be me. I was a child. Now I'm an adult. I'm a strong adult. I'm courageous. I'm worthy. And then I have a few different other tools to really
Hmm.
sort of separate the feeling, but integrate this hurt child and heal that hurt child within themselves again. Because they are part of you. They just needed healing, right? They just needed to not be in that situation, in those feelings anymore. So bring them back in, but healed. They will always be part of you. You are everyone you were before you are now. And then we sort of go, okay, so these beliefs are not part of your life anymore. They're destroyed. They're gone. It's like the shower. Even if you want to get that water back, you can't. It's gone. And then after that comes the
Yeah.
transformation. So I will record an audio because the mind learns through repetition. And a good way of
Uh-huh.
anchoring the new beliefs is then doing an audio and listening to it 21 to 30 days. And in that audio is only positive suggestions. So
Uh-huh.
suggestions that we spoke about beforehand, the positivation of the feelings that came out in the session. So you're enough, you're valuable, you're courageous, and then just repeating and then also visualize your life without that issue. We spoke about that before. And then I'll put it into the recording. You're walking with your head held high on the beach, feeling fantastic about yourself. So whatever comes up and whatever the client told me they want to feel like without that issue.
What I'm hearing is that each and every client is very unique. And so each approach to their therapy is different. And you're creating a unique piece of support in those recordings when they leave
Yes.
so that they have a very individualized piece of your art, basically,
Very personal.
that you're using in your therapy process.
Absolutely. Very personal. And what I started,
It's wonderful.
what I started now as well. Do you know when you hear a song and it gets stuck in your head?
Yes.
So having good songs with good lyrics stuck in your head actually make you feel different. I heard a song by Sia, Unstoppable. And I was sort of procrastinating my work. And then I started, I'm
Yes.
unstoppable. I'm a Porsche without brakes. And I'm like, oh, it made me feel different. And I started doing stuff again. I'm like, this is good. I'm a singer. I can just put that into the audio as well. So since going back to the question you had before, my arts background, how it changes the way I help people. One is singing because I can. One is ADHD as well, because I have an internal jukebox. So I hear a word and then a song starts in my mind. So I have that as well. So that'll come. And that song, I'm unstoppable, or I am titanium. So whatever strong, powerful songs, that person, my client, will keep in their minds the whole day or the whole week or the whole month. And that'll strengthen them as well, because it makes a difference. You know that feeling, like music does something to us, right? And the lyrics, and then if you keep singing them.
Yes, and it brings in the 5 senses.
Exactly.
Mm. And by bringing in multiple levels of the 5 senses, and I'm sure in your work, that actually reinforces the learning and the healing that they've done.
If you're lying to yourself and you keep saying, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I'm an idiot, I'm always shocked to hear how people speak to themselves, honestly. You're lying to yourself. So tell yourself better lies, you know? I'm unstoppable. I'm amazing. I am enough. You'll start believing that because,
It's important.
yeah, you start believing that and then start telling yourself better lies.
Yes, and having them as I am unstoppable.
Yep.
And I am important and I am valuable has more impact because it's relating to ourselves rather than remarkable, important. Those don't have as much
Yeah.
power behind them as I
Yes.
am statements.
Exactly. Exactly.
One of the things I love hearing about is that spark in your client's eyes the moment when they remember themselves as anew. Can you share a story of when you witnessed that powerful transformation?
Oh God, I've got so many. I'll just take one of my last clients.
Pick your favorite.
So many favorites. For example, I had one man who came to me with a depression and his eyes were, you could see he was not well. And we had a session. And after a session, when he remembered who he was before events happened, things were said to him. When he opened his eyes after the hypnosis, his eyes were so green, so sparkly. I'm like, you need to go look at yourself in the mirror. And he's like, what? I'm like, go to the bathroom, go look at yourself in the mirror. And he went to the mirror and he's like, I remember those eyes. And he hadn't seen those eyes. Ugh. He hadn't seen those eyes for such a long time, for decades. And he remembered those eyes because it was before depression took over. It was before he was told that he was not enough, that he had that spark in his eye, that joy, that open heart. Yeah.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, me too.
That's got goosebumps. It's profound. Like, to go from before one session and then after session, that just demonstrates the power behind RTT, and for yourself as well. It brings up so much emotion because I have a strong feeling that transformation brings yourself joy
Absolutely.
as well.
Absolutely.
Seeing a client go from one phase to another, supporting profound emotional work as you do can be really tough. How do you take care of your own emotional well-being while holding space for clients in this transformation?
So I have a weird thing. I say it's weird because I didn't think it would be that way. When I'm working with a client, no matter how horrible their stories are, they're deeply traumatized they are, in the back of my mind, there's always this, oh my God, I'm helping this person. I'm reminding this person who that person was before everything happened. And even though I'm highly empathetic, I have this joy whilst I'm working with clients that keeps me safe. Like, I don't have to put salt around me or anything or wash in the ocean afterwards because I feel I have this joy the whole time, no matter how heavy the story is that I'm working with, because I know I am helping this client right now. One thing I do, I have dogs. So walking in nature is my way of just taking care of myself. I do remember to breathe every day. So I do different breaths. So my favorite breath is 4-7-8. So inhaling 4, holding for 7 counts, and exhaling for 8 counts to get my nervous system back into balance. Or humming. Humming also very, very good. Vagus nerve gets you. Humming is amazing. If you can do one thing, hum. So yeah, so nature, I love the ocean. So in Portugal now, obviously, I'll just go to the beach and swim in the ocean no matter how cold it gets. But I'm going back to Berlin, so there won't be any ocean.
Yes, got to adapt to a new environment. You've got to find another way of getting that influx from nature.
Yeah. Nature walks.
I resonate. I resonate with nature walks. It fills my cup up. Reconnecting, walking, listening to the birds, just breathing in the natural air. And where I am, there's quite a few beautiful walks that you can do and just sit and listen to waterfalls. And it's amazing how being outside can just recharge your cup.
Yeah.
Even for a little while, if you can only give it a little while. And when you were talking about humming before, it brought back a memory for me when I was a teenager. I lost my voice because I wasn't speaking my truth, and it was my body's way of saying, pay attention to me. And the speech therapist I had to go and see, no other person was able to get my voice back. And humming was the way I was able to start talking again. And it really does have this calming effect on your body.
It regulates your nervous system. Oh, I've got goosebumps.
It does. A good hum.
A good hum.
Never hurt nobody. But yes, when you were talking about humming, I was like, yes. Actually, now that brings me back to, because I had no voice for about 6 months. I couldn't talk. I sounded like a squeaky pigeon, really. And like even making any sound hurt so much. And so when you were talking about how important humming is, and that if you can hum, do it. Doesn't matter whether you're on key or off key, just give it a go. And it does. If I feel like my voice is going, it's the first thing I do.
Also good learning for speaking your own truth, right?
Yes, it was like a wake up to yourself. You can't just bury everything below the surface. You need to be able to say, I'm sorry, I need to say something and be honest about it. And I think learning how to deliver honesty with kindness and compassion and not be afraid to speak your truth is also a really important stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that I had to learn. And whenever I lose my voice, I'm like, what haven't I said? What is it that I need to address right now?
How good are you at saying no?
I need to do some journaling to have a little bit of a think about what it is. No? What's no mean? No. No, that's definitely something that is my learning
Mm-hmm.
journey, is to be able to comfortably say no and not feel guilty about
Same
it.
here.
Because I guess in a caring space, it's not often available to you because most of the things you have to do are non-negotiable. They have to be done. And so learning to say, right now, I can't offer that, but I can offer this. And so finding ways of being able to be truthful to
Mm-hmm.
myself. I can't take that on right now, but in a kind, compassionate way. So that's something that it's been my learning
Mm-hmm.
journey over the last probably 2
Mm-hmm.
years, is to say, okay, this is no longer serving me. I can't do this
Mm-hmm.
anymore. I need to just pause and find a delicate and respectful way of saying thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you picked that up.
Intuition. Mm.
Exactly. I like it. There are many, many misconceptions around the world about hypnosis. What's one thing you believe people really misunderstand about hypnotherapy and RTT?
I think people are always scared that you can be manipulated in hypnosis to do things you wouldn't do. And that makes people scared of hypnosis. And that is not true. Because first of all, you're not completely gone. As I said, part of you is always there, always in control. You always have control over the situation, right? And if my client is going through something and doesn't want to tell it to me, that is fine. They don't need to say it out loud as long as they know what it is. So that is absolutely their control. Also, you can't make people do something in hypnosis they wouldn't do already. And the subconscious mind knows everything. So if I say, for example, to my client, so do you feel anger? Does that make sense? And then my client goes like, no, it's not anger, it's frustration. Right? So the subconscious knows. And I wouldn't be able to say, oh, but you're angry. No, I'm not. I'm frustrated. Different feelings, right? And
Yeah.
I can't
Okay.
make my client do anything that they wouldn't do. Also, when I do the transformation audio and there's something in there that rubs them the wrong way, they will tell me straight away, which hasn't happened often, happened like once where the person was like, yeah, no, I cannot believe this. It's not. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I pause and then we talk about it in hypnosis still. And then I'll re-record.
You're right, because, like when we watch someone go into hypnosis on stage and then they clap their fingers or they click or they tell them to cluck like a chicken and they go ahead and do it, I can understand where potentially that thought pattern comes from, that you can be manipulated whilst under hypnotherapy. So it's definitely a fresh idea that it's not
No, it's
possible,
not.
that when you're doing RTT and this healing work, that you are always in control in that space, even whilst you're under deep relaxation. So I guess that builds confidence in listeners who have not tried hypnotherapy or they haven't even investigated it for those
Yeah.
reasons. So I think that's a really important piece of information that I wasn't aware of, because I have seen on stage. That would be where I get my
Yeah.
information from, unless I was to really deep dive into that world. That's the surface level society has shown us in when they're doing those shows around hypnotherapy. And sometimes even in movies, you see someone and they've previously been through hypnosis, like in Now You See Me, that magician movie, where it could be like an hour later and then there's a certain word or a click, and then they do that thing that they've been asked to do that they don't remember. So I think That's like an invaluable piece of information that you've just shared that I didn't know, and I'm sure that there are many people who listen who wouldn't know that either. So that's
Yeah.
empowering to know that hypnotherapy, you're still in control. Your subconscious mind knows you and can still advocate
Hmm.
for yourself whilst in that
Yeah.
relaxed state. So thank you for sharing that. I feel like that's a amazing piece of
Yeah. There's
information.
show hypnosis and then there's hypnotherapy.
That's right. So they're a little
Yeah,
bit two different spectrums of the world.
exactly.
I noticed that as we're talking, creativity is so woven into your practice. Where does creativity show up for you now, whether in your healing work or in your personal expression? Do you still do stage work? What is it that you kind of draw on from there?
So I became really creative in cooking here in Portugal because I do live in a very small town of 280 people. There's no stage here. Another reason why I'm going back to Berlin because A, I miss my friends, and B, I miss the stage. So there's nothing really I can do here. But
Mhm.
I'm using this creativity in my work, but also in cooking.
Yummy. We like good cooking. That's something that we also use in healing here at home because we've had so many intolerances and food allergies. So we love to be creative and it's definitely a place of expression. So cooking is food for the soul.
Absolutely.
If we were going to have a look at struggling with self-worth, feeling stuck, overwhelmed or disconnected, and a listener today just needed just a little bit of a nugget, what's the very first, simplest step you'd suggest that they would take on their healing journey?
Simplest step would be straighten your back. I just did it now. Yeah, it makes you feel different, right? If your shoulders are
Yeah,
down, if your shoulder blades
it
are
does.
pinched together in the back, it makes you feel different. It makes you sort of this front part go up and the back part go down, right? So you're standing absolutely straight or sitting absolutely straight. Changes the feeling you have within yourself because if you don't feel good about yourself, you tend to do this to make yourself smaller. So make yourself bigger, right? To make yourself bigger.
Mm.
Breathing, remember to breathe. Breath is life. And people tend, when they're stressed, to breathe up here in your chest. Bring that breath down to your belly, like diaphragmatic breath. So important. This is how we're meant to breathe. If you have issues doing that, get into embryo position. There's no other way you can breathe if you're in embryo. You cannot breathe up here in embryo position. So get into embryo position. Go in front of the mirror, look at yourself and say, I'm enough. Just stick to I'm enough or choose any other word that makes you feel good. You might not believe it in the beginning, but the more you tell it to yourself, the more you'll start believing it. So yeah, those were 3.
I'll take all three. We'll take all three for listeners. So, sitting up straight, shoulders back, opening your chest, being proud changes how you feel in your state. 2 was breathing. So big breaths in through the nose, holding and out to get your nervous system back in check. Because you're right, when things are going hectic and crazy, we tend to breathe up here. And it's so important and nobody has to know. I think that's one of the beautiful things about breath work is that nobody has to know that we're not feeling 100%. Nobody has to know that in your brain or in your day-to-day life that things are just a little bit hectic and you need to get back in control of how your body is operating. And so breath work is just such a simple, genuinely expressive opportunity to reconnect with yourself. And then the third thing you were talking about was having time for yourself and valuing that I am enough. And if I am enough doesn't work, then another statement that makes you feel abundant and
Yeah,
beautiful and in
yeah.
control. And all three of those things are spectacular pieces of advice. And I'm so grateful that you shared more than one because all three of those are amazing. So, Natalie, I wanted to thank you so much for your openness and the wisdom that you've shared with me here today. Before we close, what is one message that you would most want our listeners to carry with them as they move through their own radiant moments?
Remember who you were before the world started telling you otherwise. because you were perfect, you were enough, you were courageous, and you were valuable, and you are all these things still today. You got to remember it.
That's beautiful. Thank you so very
You're
much.
very welcome.
For those who are listening and wanting to learn more about or connect with Natalie, I'd love you to take some time and visit her website. It's at thelighthouse.therapist.com, or you can find her on LinkedIn at Natalie Lund LHT. And you can also reach out to her directly at natalielund2010@gmail.com. All of her links and information will be in the description of this episode. Thank you for joining us today on Radiant Moments. Remember, you are worthy beyond measure. If this episode inspired you, please share it with someone who might need it today. Subscribe to Radiant Moments for more stories that nurture resilience and healing. Until next time, take gentle care of your radiant moments.